Welcome to Big Flats, Texas. It's episode 15, and we are in the middle of spring planting. If you haven't caught up with the series, there'll be a link to the entire playlist in the description below. I'll try to have one in the comments too. Here we are in Big Flats, Texas. We are in March, and we are planting oats on this field right here, about 40 acres, as well as the field behind our house over there. That's field 10 over there behind the house. We are in the middle of planting, and well, as you can see, we got a new tractor. Just bought a John Deere 8R. I thought this would be a nice addition to our fleet. It's the last of the purchases I made from last fall's sale of grain. This is going to be a really useful tractor, as right now we have it set up so it can pull some really big machinery, and later on we can put row crops on it so we can use it for fertilizing and things like that. It's going to be a versatile tractor and a nice addition to our fleet. We don't have an 8R in our fleet yet. Right now, in the middle of seeding oats over here in field 10, and made it a good distance on the seeds and fertilizer that we filled the drill with up there, but not quite enough to finish the field. As you can see here, we made huge progress. I made huge progress early in March. It looks like we might only have one more, well, we're going to have one more pass up the field with the air cart and hoe drill, and then the rest I'll get with the other seeder. And then it'll be back up to field 1. We're doing a lot here this month here in Big Flats, Texas. And for those of you following along with the channel, next month we're gonna have, well, we'll be somewhere else. Let's just put it that way. But there's still a lot to do in Big Flats, Texas. I hope you enjoy the series. Make sure to leave your opinion in the comments below. Any input is appreciated, and definitely your likes and subscriptions. If you like what you're seeing, follow along and tell me so in the comments. All right, so we need to get some more seeds out to the field, because yeah, 10,000 liters that we bought is used, and yeah, a little bit of, yeah, the way this trailer is set up, it hitches kind of close to the tractor. I'm aware of that. But it's what we've got right now. It's what we've got. Let's fill this back up with seeds and get out there and get our thing refilled. There's lots to do. And from March all through spring and summer, we're going to have lots to do here on the field. So let's get this filled with seeds. I've purchased some more seeds and fertilizer. Our tank should be full and ready to go for the year. Get this all filled up, because that air cart out there will take all that this can hold and then some. But for now, we're going to fill it with this. It'll take about twice this much, and we're going to have to fill it up again because the other field, field 1, is almost the size of this field. Considering the size of the field, though, made fairly decently quick work of it. This is going to be a great tractor. It's a great purchase, and yeah, like I said, probably the last thing we'll get from our harvest sale of last winter, although we have another harvest sale coming up in June when we sell those soybeans that we harvested back in November. All right, let's make sure that the big bud is running. Let's get it fired up. Yeah, we chewed through those seeds pretty good planting this field. But man, this thing has some serious working with. Let's see if we can get this lined up and get these seeds in here. Hopefully I can get it a little easier this time. There we go. Loading the seeds in. The back part of this auger trailer likes to be a little tricky. There we go. The rest of the seeds going in. I just remembered there's one more thing we need for this tractor that is waiting for us at the store. I'll go get that here presently. Alright, got the rest of the seeds in there. I'm going to go ahead and drive this. I'm going to get this back to the refill silo and Yeah, we just bought this tractor, and I left the front weight at the store. Figured we were going to want this, and again, yeah, we'll be able to put row crop tires on this later in the year if we're working in the fields. We're going to come through with fertilizer next month on these fields. Just got to get field 1 planted. All right, we got this all filled with seeds. We're going to haul this down to field 1. We'll drive the tractor over to the shop, and we're going to get back on. We're going to finish seeding field 10 there, and then get to move all that equipment down to field 1. The seeding really did go pretty fast. Those 23-meter wide passes shouldn't be a problem. So let's get I'm going to get this set up on field 1, and I'll meet you back at the Big Bud. All right, here we are ready to go back here. Let's get the air cart all tucked away. Everything ready to go. Finish this pass, and then one more pass of oats. And away we go with this big machinery again. I'm not sure how many passes it took, but really not much. It still blows my mind how big this is. Of course, this is not the biggest field, not even close. I figure it won't be too long before we own a much larger plot of land. In fact, with that John Deere added to our fleet, we have enough equipment. We can definitely look at the purchase of a larger field. And I think that's going to be the priority coming up on our soybean sale when we sell the soybeans that we harvested last fall. When we sell those this spring, I'll be looking at a new field to buy. Land here in Big Flats, Texas is pretty affordable, to be honest. And I think we can set our sights on a decent sized field. And that's going to be just amazing to be able to stretch our legs on an even larger field. Of course, the sale is coming up in June. So it's a couple months from now, and we'll see how, a few months from now, and we'll see how everything is, what land's available, and so on. For now, let's turn this around and get ready for our final pass with the seed drill, and then we'll come back by with the smaller one to clean up any areas we missed. There we go. That's got it about set right there. Yeah, that's pretty spot on for that last row. I don't think there's anything here worth touching up. And then next month, of course, again, yeah, next month we'll come by with the 8R that we just bought, and it'll run fertilizer down here. Now, I do see that there's rain forecasted today. There wasn't earlier, but now it's forecasting rain. It might not be until tonight because it wasn't on the horizon earlier. It's nothing we got to worry about. It's not till late this afternoon, until about 5 o'clock or so. That's what it's saying right now anyway. It's been cloudy all day, though. It's been kind of a dreary day this spring. Well, it was raining last night. It rained overnight a little bit, which is good. I mean, it's good that the snow cleared out of the way and it warmed up enough that we actually had some rain. Now, field 1 is going to take even fewer passes, being a narrower field, but it's really close to the same acreage. And it looks like we might have to fill the fertilizer in this. Well, when we get done here, we're going to take this over to field 1. As soon as we're done here, we're going to pack this up here in just a second, take it over to field 1, get the seeds filled, and then we'll run another load of fertilizer out to it because it used about 70% of the fertilizer that we put in it. Now, not quite that much, but it used a decent amount, maybe about 60% of it. So we're definitely going to need to refill it going into field 1. Now let's just finish up this last row here. Let's get this up and folded for transport. some big machinery, boys. Alright, that's all folded up. Alright, let's get this to field 1. Nice and careful like. Luckily, there's no traffic on the road in front of our house. Gives us a little second to get this straightened out. And also, luckily, we only have to cross the highway to get to field 1. We don't have to drive down the highway. But as far as where to get this set up, well, we're going to drive right across the highway. We'll get it set up kind of mid-field. We've got a big seeder to come through and clean up any areas that we missed, so we can set it up in the field, and whatever we don't get, we can come back, of course. We're doing that here soon. Wow, that is a long train of equipment. Very hard-won equipment. We worked really hard for this last year. Yeah, after we sell that grain, we might be able to purchase a field like this. Actually would be in our price range, although I don't know exactly what the sale is going to net us. Is there anything planted here right now? No, it's barren right now. But it's only March. Yeah, I guess it's only March. Pretty much the only things planted at this point are going to be oats or wheat from last year. Yeah, so this should be pretty easy to jump across the highway here. Boy, last episode at the very beginning when it was still winter, there was no one out here. For like an hour, there was no traffic. Of course, yeah, there was road still covered in snow. That was last month. All right, dart across real quick here. And let's get this set up at the field and get this. We need to get the air cart filled. You know, I think we can, if we can straighten this out. You know, well, yeah, we're gonna have a. All right, that's going to be good right there. Let's get this folded out. And let's get this opened up to the fertilizer tank. Actually, first let's put it on the seed tank. All right, let's get that ready to accept seeds. Boy, I love watching this equipment work. Yeah. All right, well, while that finishes unfolding, we've got a cart full of seeds right here, ready to go, and then we'll go grab fertilizer. Now, of course, we just filled it, but I already filled this back up, and we're going to need them, and yeah, we'll need more, and besides, it's got room. Oh, you know, that was my bad. It was on the seed tank, and I moved it to the fertilizer tank. I had it in the right place. It unfolded to the seed tank, and for some reason, I don't know why, I thought it was on fertilizer. I was telling myself, remember, fertilizer front, FF, fertilizer front. And then I completely neglected that because I was wondering why it wouldn't offload seeds. There we go. There we go. We got seeds unloading. Now it's in the front tank. I'm just being tricky anyway. And now if I can remember the controls to swap tanks here. There we go. And before we get going, I'm going to want to get fertilizer in it too, just to make sure it's completely good. So let's get ready to swap the auger on this. It's quite the process to load this big machinery. Definitely is. Alright, it's full of seeds. Is this empty on seeds? Sometimes it stops early. Let's get this swapped up to the fertilizer. It's ready to accept. Let's make sure. Yes, sir. This is empty. All right. Let's go get some fertilizer. Both ways. Always look both ways. And I'm going to grab some fertilizer. Our tanks up here are refilled with plenty. I made a deal with a local supplier, and although it cost us around $100,000 or so, I mean, it cost us a lot of money, but I made a deal with a local supplier, and we got a good deal of bulk seeds and fertilizer, enough for this year for both of these fields. And well, I'll check on it after that, but we're good for the time being. I also had a check on our liquid fertilizer as well. We're good on everything up here at the farm for this year. We should be, except for lime, but we won't be needing lime this year. All right, and we're back on field 1 with fertilizer for our air cart. Finally, we'll be able to get moving with this rig again. So we get this filled. Both tanks in there. Let's see how that's filling. Let's see what that puts us at. We're definitely good for this field now. Oh yeah. We're definitely good for this field. In fact, so now we know how much it holds. I wasn't 100%. Now we know how much it holds. Alright. Just right here. Let's just park this over here and let's get started with our the planting. The fun part. Watching this go to work. Let's get this all set. Ready to go. You know, I think what we're going to do here, how wide do you think we can go on the other pass? I think we're going to pull this. This will allow us the best field coverage, I think. You know, I think well, we'll do the best we can on the way back. Well, cutting too close to the road causes problems, causes obvious problems, with there being traffic there, road signs inside the road, etc. So I don't want to cut too close to the road anyway. This field's going to present some unique obstacles in that we have neighbor over there, not too much runoff space on that side of the field over there, and of course we have the store up here. But also, as we saw in the last field, this rig can turn around pretty decently. Now at the end of this row, I'm gonna turn towards the road, take out that row, and then I'll give us more room to turn around. I don't have any kind of headlight management on this, so I'm just gonna be strictly eyeballing it. That would be the best way to do it, but with no computer to set that, we're just gonna eyeball this first one and then we'll be turning it around. It can flip a pretty good 180 if you saw last episode in the other field. But we want to allow plenty of room with the road up here and everything. And yeah, all right. We can pick this up with a smaller seeder later. It couldn't hurt to have a smaller seeder. We have the 13-meter one. This is worth getting. The strip we left over in field 10 is not worth going back for. This right here is worth getting, and I'm going to have a look for a smaller seeder, which is going to be handy anyway. We've got that 13-meter wide one. That's simply not needed. This is actually picking up this is leaving very little space. I'll have a look at a smaller seeder at the store. Coming back, yeah, with that big one is it'd be a lot of wasted equipment use. Let's actually see what we can find. Nothing on sale. Never a bad idea to check. This would be great. This right here would be great for exactly what we need it to do. So let's go ahead and have this wait and force the store. We can come back with the 8R and handle this. Alright, so we get some equipment waiting for us back at the store. It costs a little more than I wanted to spend, but it's going to be really, really handy, and for smaller things as well. Alright, now let's see if we can execute this turn the way that it worked in my head. Just kind of loop around like this. And set this up for this row up here. Yeah, that's good enough. Perfection. Definitely not something I'd want to hire out. I can only imagine hiring a worker for this. Oh, getting hung up in those trees back there. I've seen worse things happen. Some drivers, I mean, a lot of the hired hands out here, definitely not skilled with big equipment like this. I have seen them get tangled in the trees with stuff. And that could be a nightmare to get out. Especially something like this that cannot be backed up. As these are our only big fields currently. After this field, yeah, here in a couple more rows, maybe 3 or 4, this equipment here is going to go away, yeah, for probably until next year, unless we pick up a job for another local farmer or something. It's been really fun using this equipment. Well, we're not done yet, but yeah, I think after this can go away for the season. It seems like it didn't get a whole lot of use out of it, but then again, after having finished this, we will have planted about 35 hectares or so, a little more, between 35 and 40 hectares. So that's probably that's probably close to 100 acres ish, almost. Not quite, actually. Why did I? Because I was trying to do math in my head, and darn it, let's see if we can back this up a little bit. There we go. Let's get this turned around. Hopefully not take out that road sign there. And there we go. I was trying to convert 35 hectares to acres. Now it's more like, yeah, that didn't sound right. It's not 100 acres. It's more like 87-ish. Yeah, 80 something. I think the first time we planted this, the width of the cedar that we used the first time, yeah, would have been about half the width that we're using now. And with nowhere near the capacity, plus we didn't have an auger wagon to fill it in the field. Looks like we're only going to get one more pass of the full length of the field. So we don't want to cut into his yard. So it looks like one more pass Well, I don't know. We'll see when I get there. Let me turn it around here. Kind of eager to try out our new seeder that we just bought. It was not a purchase I intended on. I intended on coming through here with the 13-meter seeder, but it's just too big. We do not need something that big for the small touch-up that we have here. Now, we can squeeze another row out of this. Yeah, we can squeeze one more full-length row. Yeah, buying that seeder was definitely, thinking about it, it was definitely an expense I didn't plan for. I didn't expect it to cost as much as it did, but I wanted some good John Deere equipment. There was cheaper options. I saw them. It's there's always contract work we can pick up. Here, once we turn around, I'll have a look, see if there's any local contract work. Not this month. Well, yeah, there's no sense in it because this month we're pretty set, I think. I'll have a look anyway. But there might sometimes some really lucrative jobs pop up, that is, and we have the big machinery to handle pretty much anything that would pop up, unless it's, say, on one of those two fields over there. They're just enormous, titanic size. We will be tackling jobs like that in coming episodes, but I'm not sure about that right now. Let's get this turned around for now. And we don't want to hit his yard. Actually meant to turn it around and get the outside first, but I wasn't thinking. I think this might be good here. I think we're safe here. We'll see as we approach. Let's have a look at local shops. Well, nothing this month. Okay, so I guess that's that. Nothing this month. Perhaps next month. We have enough money, though, for now. Our biggest expense was simply planting these fields. I didn't expect to spend over $100,000 on seeds and fertilizer. That is what it is for, what, about 80 acres of land. What you didn't see is that I also bought, well, as I said, we cut a deal with a local supplier. We did, but nonetheless, I also put about $40,000 into liquid fertilizer, and that was with a pretty good deal, because just to top off our supply, because we're going to need liquid fertilizer to come back over these fields. And it looks like we might just have to adjust our trajectory ever so slightly. Yeah, I meant to hit the outside of the field first. Once we get up here, we're just going to nudge this over the slightest bit, because we don't want to drag our equipment through his yard. Now, let's see if we can get lined up. I'm going to try to take this headland off and then pull a tight turn and go up the outside, I think. I think. There we go. Let's get going again. looks like we might be able to finish this with one more row. I think one more row regardless, and if there is a strip left over, yeah, our new seeder that we bought. And just about ready to turn around for our last pass with the hoe drill and air cart. I think our new equipment's 6 meters wide. It'll make quick work of that. You know, it's kind of a good thing we only have these 2 fields for right now. Well, these 2 big ones anyway, because I don't think I could afford to fill this equipment for another one. But that's kind of the whole, you know, idea behind land being such a great investment. It sets you back the initial purchase, but then, you know, another field will pay off so much more around harvest time. Keep us going with all this big gear. Wow, this field has quite the curve to it. When you look at it like this place looks really flat. And it's in the name, big flats. But when you get out on these fields, and this is one reason I know I spoke a few times of the articulated header that we have on the harvester with such large working widths, you start to notice the contours in the ground. And actually down there, I didn't even notice. We rolled right over it without me even noticing it. There's definite dips and bumps in the ground over there. This covered all of those well with the points of articulation in this cedar here. All right, finally, it's about time to pack it away. Well, it's really fun. It's really fun to finally get and use this equipment. It's now time to pack this away, unless we have a contract later in the year for seeding, which is a possibility. Depends how much time we have to do things where we don't need to work on our own fields. All right, let's get this packed up. All this stuff lifted up. I like to watch this thing fold. Let's carefully get it back down to, we're going to take this back under the the big covered area where we had it stored previously. And try out our new seeder. I'd like to get something else to pull that Argo wagon over there. The way that pipe fits when it's folded kind of conflicts with all the tractors that we have. Might want to look at something else to pull it with, although I've been running through my head and I don't have anything off the top of my head that I can think of. I could lengthen the hitch of it with another device, another tool in between, but then that makes it so that you can't back it up, and that's not desirable. I want to retain the ability to back that up. Think of something, but that'll require an equipment purchase, which we can't quite do right now. We could sell some grain preemptively. I'd rather not. The price for this is going to peak in June, and that's really when we're going to want to sell it. It could spike in May or something, but it's unlikely. So looking at the prices now versus what they could be, projected, what they are projected for in June. Yeah. Well, let's get this thing parked, put back away. Let's see, it's kind of best to swing this in really wide over there. But I think we have room. What's that in there? What do I see over there? Oh, that's the semi-trailer. We might actually do better swinging in from this angle. If the semi-trailer is parked towards the other end, we might have more room. Except that the air cart on this likes, yeah, it likes to roll away when it's parked. I'll leave the big butt attached to it. It might be more resistant to roll away with the big butt attached to it. So we'll leave all this hooked up. Just trail this through here. Oh, there we go. Just barely fits. All right, now let's take this down and get our... You know, I'm going to leave the weight right here. We're going to get our new seater, and it's got a box that goes in the front of it. We're going to hook that up to this, to our new tractor. I was going to hit the field here with it, but I forgot. First, we need to get this down to our farm and fill the tools. I could buy stuff for it here, but I'm really not keen on spending any more money at this time. So we're going to take this down to our farm, fill it down there. Let's just get this hooked up. Do we want to... I've got the front of this tractor raised. It's about as much as it'll go. And that should be good. Well, I was just looking because it's sitting kind of low in front, but all right, with all this hooked up, let's get this folded. And I'll meet you guys down at the farm. We're going to get this filled up. All right, here we're at the farm. Let's get this filled up. I'm going to want to have a look at... It seems like every device has its own little buttons that it wants to use. So this should take fertilizer and seeds. Let's see, and we're going to be seeding... Before we forget, always swap it to oats. Seeds. Now, it's only taking seeds. Although it says it takes both, it's only taking seeds. Got enough for everything to work. Yeah, let me make sure I'm not missing any controls. We got ridge markers on this. That's we won't need those for what we're doing, but that's always cool to know. Is like to get an idea for the controls before we start using our equipment, right? So I just want to get where we kind of missed with the big seeder. A few spots here. All right, so a small oopsie on my part. We can't use this equipment that we just bought here. This will certainly come in handy elsewhere, but we can't use it here because this is not even something I thought about. This is my bad on this. This equipment, I need to till first. We need to cultivate the ground first. This is not a direct seed drill like the other. So let's park this here. You know, I didn't even think about that. That didn't even cross my mind until I saw that it wasn't planting So, big oopsie on my part on that one. This is still useful, but not on these fields this year. No. So we'll have this for when we need it. So for now, I still want to use our new tractor, so let's hook it up to the seed drill. This John Deere 9RX has seen a lot of use. It could sit this one out. Yeah, look at this. We got 13 hours of use on the 9RX here. Let's hook this guy up. I didn't want to pull this behind us because I thought it was a bit overkill for some of the small areas we have. But then I spent all that money on that seeding equipment. Well, it's just that this year we didn't disc the fields this season is all. Next time, I'll keep that in mind, of course. And we'll be prepared for that. And yeah, let's change this to oats. You know how many times I've forgotten that. I'm sure I'm not the only one. Make sure we are planting the right crop. Let's get this going down. And there was something else I was thinking about. Yeah, this is a good tractor. It's really good for maneuverability as well. My 9RX kind of likes to, at least the one, our 9RX, the one here on this farm, it's not the best at turning things in tight circles. I'm not sure what the deal with it is. This tractor can maneuver this tool a lot easier. We actually got a surprising amount of this field with that. You know, yeah, I didn't think, again, I didn't think that huge equipment would cut as close as it did to the edges of the field. So I'm going to get a bit down here at the head of the field, and I'll meet you guys down at field 1. All right, here we are coming up on field 1. Just make sure we can cross the highway. Yeah, here in a second. And I want to remember to pick up that weight that I left here, that front weight for the tractor, since we're not using that front tank. That is a bummer, but sometimes things are overlooked. Let's get this front weight mounted back on our tractor. Don't want to forget that out here, so we might run off with that. Can't have that happening. There we go. Now there's just a couple spots to hit here. Oh, and there's a row. We got a row to hit here. Let's go ahead and hit that first. And, well, let me get started up this row here. Guys, I want to thank you so much for following along with Big Flats, Texas. This is episode 15. Be sure to leave any thoughts or input you have in the comments below. And follow along with the series. Click that like button. It really helps support, especially when you let me know why you like the video. And subscribe to follow along. There's a link to the playlist in the description below, as well as probably the comments. Let me know how we're doing here in Big Flats, Texas. What you like, what you don't like. We'll have a lot more coming up. About 5 more parts, I estimate, in this series. We've got a lot more to do here, and there's so much we're going to accomplish here. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in April for the next episode of Big Flats, Texas.